For a very long time, Roma has been one of the top competing teams in the Serie A, in the Italian league, but they have not won it since 2001. That's almost 2 decades ago, which is an insanely long time. And in this video, I will make a team for Roma out of their former players to see if I could create something that looks like that could win the Serie A, maybe even the Champions League. That's how good some of their former players have been. Hey Ryan, it has been here. That is FYNN. Thank you so much for the recent support on this channel. I'd really appreciate it if you do like this kind of content to subscribe and like this video so that I do know you do enjoy it. So as I said, I will be making a team of former Roma players in this list. It is a shockingly good team, I do have to say. So there are loan players do not count in this. So I can't use players like Florenzi, and retired players do not count. So I can't use players like Totti. They all have to be playing. Let's get into this list, and it is insane, guys. It is, I cannot tell you how mad it is. Okay, so we start off in the goalkeeper position, and guys, this is, I mean, it's no competition. It is probably, I would say, the best goalkeeper in the world by a country mile at the moment. Well, I can't say at the moment, there's no football at the moment, and there hasn't been for quite a while. But you know what, when football was a sport that did exist, it was Alisson Becker from Liverpool. As I said, probably one of the best goalkeepers in the world. He, you know, won a Champions League, which is probably one of the biggest, I mean, it is the biggest European competition of all time. I mean, that itself is good enough to be in this list, but along with that, I mean, last season alone, 3 Golden Gloves in 3 different competitions, and he's won a Copa America with Brazil, so an international trophy always helps along with a big European one, and he would be a Premier League winner if it wasn't for this null and void thing, which I'm a United fan, but guys, even I'm starting to feel bad for Liverpool. I mean, come on, 30 years, no trophy, you 2 games out of 8. You have to win, and then you lift your first title in 30 years, and the world itself is just like, nah, not gonna have it, mate. But yeah, I mean, except for like Szczesny and a few other goalkeepers that have been at Roma, I have to say it's no competition that Becker has to fit into this team. We have 3 centre-backs because that's the formation I am using. The first centre-back is going to be Rudiger from Chelsea. He's had multiple appearances for Germany, which is a strong national team centre-back, and you have to be pretty damn good to get into that centre-back position for Germany. He's won the FIFA Confederation Cup with Germany, so an international trophy is a huge help, especially for a big team like Germany in your records. He is a FA Cup winner with Chelsea, along with a Europa League champion from last season, which once again, a European trophy and an international trophy is huge. He only spent 1 year at Roma, but at the end of the day, you know, as I said, a pretty good player, but he hasn't been the best. He hasn't been what's expected of him at Chelsea. I mean, yes, I'm a United fan. I know he got that header against Manchester United once upon a time. That's beside the point. I think Chelsea have really struggled with their defenders in recent years. I mean, their fullbacks have been okay, but their centre-backs, ever since players like John Terry have left, I mean, they've struggled a tiny bit, let's not lie. Second centre-back is going to be the 25-year-old Marquinhos, which he's actually still younger than I thought. He's been around for so long, and you forget how good he's actually been. I mean, let's be honest, he's just almost a copy-paste version of Silva from PSG, those 2 Brazilian centre-backs for PSG. They've done such a good job together. 47 appearances for Brazil is very good for that centre-back position, because it's also been a very packed position for them. PSG sadly have not had good luck with European competition, so no European trophies there. I mean, no matter how much money, they just spend so much money and they don't win. Let's be honest, that PSG team is actually just a Brazil team at this point by the amount of Brazil players that they have had. But 7 years at PSG, he's won multiple trophies with them, and I think he's a very good centre-back overall, and he has been linked to bigger clubs in different nations at different leagues that can actually compete for the Champions League, or that have won the Champions League. Like, he has been linked to Real Madrid at points, he's been linked to United. I mean, that's more Europa League than Champions League, but besides the point. The last offender we have on this list is going to be Manolas. He used to be obviously a Roman player, he is now at Napoli, and he is looking stronger than ever. I mean, his goal-to-game ratio is not bad for a centre-back by any means. He's been in FIFA's top 50 players of the year a few years ago. Overall, a really good centre-back overall. With 42 appearances for Greece, I mean, it's quite odd to think Greece have 2 really strong centre-backs with the likes of Socrates and the likes of Manolas. I mean, Manolas has been an absolute beast for Napoli. He's been in really top form at the end of the day, and he was that at Roma. It's quite weird to think that Roma would give such a good player to like a direct rival pretty much. So guys, there is the defense and goalkeeper in this list. You can tell me how you think about that. I mean, that is actually unbelievable when it comes to defense. Guys, as this formation is kind of a 3-4-2-1, now we have 4 midfielders from right mid, centre mid, left mid, and then there's 2 attacking midfielders and a striker. I know it's a bit confusing, but that's how I could get the best form players in this team. We start off in the right mid position, and it is going to be Lamela from Spurs. He's spent 7 years at Spurs now, but has not been as promising as I thought. I mean, let's be honest, he's gotten so many runners-up titles that it's pretty sad. He's missed a runner-up at this point. When he was at Roma, he did not have a bad record. He had 19 goals in 62 games, which, I mean, once he moved to Spurs, getting 16 in 146, so it's not as good, is it? Beyond that, Lamela has had some very heroic moments for Spurs, and in that right mid position, I mean, I don't mind fitting him in there. Our first centre mid is going to be the Bosnian Pjanic, who is now at Juventus, and he did so well when he was at Roma. 159 appearances for them, 92 for Bosnia itself. He's played for Lyon, Juventus, obviously for Roma. He's had a career and a half and is one of the best midfielders in the world. I mean, when it comes to set piece, he is very, very strong, and I didn't actually expect him to do this well once he moved to Juventus, but probably one of the best playmakers in the world. You know, at some points, I do have to say. And I mean, Juventus's midfield is, I mean, come on guys, it is incredible. The next centre midfielder we do have is going to be Kevin Strootman. Yes, from Marseille. I mean, I think he was such a good player for the club. He was there for around 5 years, and he was one of the most composed, like, almost legends of the team, because when people looked at Roma, there was a time when they did look at them, like with De Rossi, with Totti, with Strootman, players like that were just really the best in the world at some of their points. When Strootman was at PSV, though, that's when he did win trophies. But as I said, 5 years at Roma, I think he was a very good midfielder overall, and I think he could have stayed another 2-3 years at least. Our last midfielder on the left midfield position is actually a right back, but he needed to be in this team. It is going to be Digne from Everton, who, I mean, although he's from Everton, apparently has a Liverpool tattoo, which I don't know how you got that right, mate. But yeah, at the end of the day, he's had an impressive career by far. Under 20 World Cup champion. He wasn't in the previous World Cup when it was in Russia, but he was, you know, in that runner-up game versus Portugal in Euro 2016. But I mean, guys, his record is incredible. I mean, obviously, he's been a legend for Everton and has been their player of the season in his first season. He's played for Barcelona, obviously Roma, and PSG. That is one of the most impressive records that you could have. The first attacking midfielder on the right that we do have is going to be Nainggolan, who's also had a very good career, and he is known for beautiful long shots, and I mean, he can only really score godly-like goals. I mean, he's played for Roma, he's played for Inter Milan, and he was a really good player for Belgium. But I think one of the most shocking things in the 2018 World Cup is when Marouane Fellaini was picked over him. Everyone thought it was a weird one, but then Fellaini really did do well in that World Cup. But at the end of the day, Nainggolan, as I said, he's one of the best goal scorers, and I mean, I think it's really weird that he was transferred to Inter Milan, because once again, Roma really did get rid of some of their best players. At the end of the day, though, he is loaned out, Nainggolan, which, once again, super weird, because Inter Milan's such a strong team, and they would be even stronger with Nainggolan. But yeah, there's just no way I can't put the former Roma Player of the Year in this squad. The last attacking midfielder I have in this list is going to be Al Shaarawy. Yes, the one that no one really can pronounce his name. And I mean, he's had some pretty shocking haircuts, but you know, multiple appearances for Italy. But it's kind of been in an era where Italy haven't really competed for anything when it comes to World Cups and Euros. But yeah, 27 years old. I mean, I seem to remember him being such a young player, but now he's 27. I mean, it's a bit of a Jesse Lingard story, isn't it? But yeah, he did really well at Genoa when he was a bit younger. I mean, look, his numbers haven't been amazing for Roma, but he's been somewhat consistent. But you know what, now he's in the Chinese league. He's won the Chinese FA Cup, which, I mean, not the most impressive. And I find it such a waste that 27 years old, in the prime of your career, you move to a league like the Chinese or the MLS, where you could still really compete at the top. But yeah, I do have to say Al Shaarawy in this list just because he has been consistent and he hasn't been the worst. So guys, that is the midfield. It is insane. You guys can tell me how that would compete on the European stage. Okay guys, we get to the attack and there's only one attacker. There is one player left, and then I'll put the entire team on the squad and you guys can vote about it. But it is going to be Mohamed Salah. Mohamed Salah, an absolute beast of the player, one of the best players in the world. Almost won a Ballon d'Or 2-3 years ago. I mean, everyone thought there was no doubt that he would end up winning it, but then he didn't end up doing that. But I think that's probably because he got injured in that Champions League game because of Sergio Ramos, and couldn't really do well in the World Cup. That probably hindered it a tiny bit. But today, 15 goals in 31 appearances when he made his official transfer to Roma, and he got a very similar record when he was loaned there the season before. But I can't believe he's a Chelsea player. Can you guys really believe that Mohamed Salah played at Chelsea? That is absolutely wow. I mean, Jose Mourinho really messed up there. Let's not forget that he also sold Kevin De Bruyne. But yeah, Mohamed Salah, as I said, the Egyptian king for Liverpool, might go down, or definitely will go down as a Liverpool great. I mean, Club World Cup winner, Super Cup winner, Champions League winner, almost the Premier League winner. I mean, his goals are insane. One of the top scorers in Premier League history, with multiple golden boots in the Premier League, which, I mean, even one itself is impressive. Along with African Player of the Year, there's nothing this man cannot achieve. I mean, Mohamed Salah has been amazing for Liverpool. Guys, this is my entire team. You guys can tell me what you think about this Roma team. And question, do you guys think that this team could compete for Serie A, for the Champions League, both, or neither? I'll put that in the I think up above. You guys can vote for that, but it is an insanely strong team. Guys, I hope you have enjoyed this video. Please tell me if there's any other clubs you want me to do, and please do subscribe if you do enjoy this kind of content. If you did learn anything new about it, I really hope you did. Guys, I do love every single one of you. Click my icon down below to subscribe to this channel. I do love every single one of you. Stay awesome. Cheers.